Welcome back to this bitch. So I'm in jail for the night. Get out, have to go to that first court thing. I just played guilty because I smacked the bitch. I did it. And they was like, no, you don't want to plead guilty. And this bitch is there with her sister. Her sister looks like like that thing from Spawn. It's like a penguin Joker type character. He said that's how her sister looks. She built just like that shit. And so after they put the not guilty plea in or whatever, I walk over to her and the sister was like, she's not going nowhere with you. She's a good woman. She got a car. She go to work every day. And I just stare at the sister. She's like, what are you staring at? I said, that's all it takes to be a good woman? Like, no wonder she acts like this. Y'all got some low ass standards. Like, shut up. And so they leave. I'm trying to tell my family what's going on, how I'm feeling, and you know, how I'm hurt and what pushed me to the edge. And they're not listening to this shit. They're like, well, what did you do? That's all they keep asking me. Like, it's your fault. It's your fault. And so friends, so-called friends, were like that too. You know, I had to get away. It was like I was trapped inside of a twister or something, and I couldn't find the right direction. So I called my mom in Seattle. I said, is it cool if I come up for a while? And she said, of course. So I got up out of there. Got up to Seattle. Got busy, you know. Got busy. Got a couple of jobs and shit. Stayed up there for like 5 or 6 months and shit. But I knew I had to handle the shit. You know, I was clear now. I had my focus back. I had to go down here, handle this shit. And plus, every time I seen the cops, I get nervous and shit. Like, oh, they coming for me. Like I was motherfucking that habitual bitch slapper, right? And so I went back down, pieced out my friends that I met up there, some great friends, you know, 17th and Yesler, what's happening. Went back down to Cincinnati, went to my mother's house. My mother's like, what's going on? I said, well, I'm going to turn myself in Monday, and they're probably going to throw me in jail for a little while. And she says, well, what your dumb ass gonna do if they don't throw you in jail, you dumb motherfucker? I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But that meant she didn't want me staying at her house. That's what that meant. And I said, but they will. But what if they don't? That's why I left. You know. So I went down there. I turned myself in. They threw me in jail for like a month. I get out and shit. I'm still focused though. Still focused. I get out. I go back to my mom's house. She was like, what you gonna do now? I said, I'm gonna get a couple of jobs and shit. By the end of the week, I had 2 jobs. You know, her boyfriend of the month he was like, damn, you did get busy. I said, yeah, that's what I do. And so I was going somewhere one night, and my mom was like, where are you going? I said, so-and-so is coming to get me, an old friend. She was like, you need to leave her alone, because all you're going to do is ruin her life too. See, this is what my mother thought about me, that I'm the ruiner of bitches' lives and shit. Like every bitch I encounter, I ruin their lives. But my mama is the one that put this bitch in my life to ruin my life. Look at this. Oh. So when my mama was talking about at her funeral, they was like, yeah, she's so proud of you. No, she's proud that other people was proud of me, because she wasn't. She tried to take the accolades. Oh, that's my son. Ooh, hoo, hoo. But I'm the same nigga that ain't shit. Ain't shit. So I'm hanging out with the woman. I'm gonna ruin her life and shit. We're hanging out and shit. Start talking to that bitch again. Because I'm going to see the baby and shit. You know, Scooping might giving this bitch some money and shit. And then one day she was like, come on upstairs. This bitch. I shouldn't even have went on upstairs, because then she started that baloney. Oh, you're my everything. I know you're a good guy, and I'm falling for the shit. I fell for the shit again. Next thing you know, I'm back in a relationship with this bitch. It's like a year after all this shit. But I told this bitch, if I ever see me versus you again, I'm done fucking with you. She just looked at me like that. The bitch is retarded. And then she came out one day. She was like, I had a miscarriage. I was like, bitch, who you pregnant? What? Like, what the fuck is going on? So I take this bitch to the fucking doctor and shit. They scrape the shit out or whatever they do and shit. So then this bitch gets pregnant again. And I'm like, I was like, pregnant? What the fuck? She was like, we working on it. And I knew if I tried to argue with her, she'd call the police. She'd do anything. Like if I said anything that upset her, somehow I was going to pay for it. You know? So I just shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? I should have been like everybody else. Got the pussy on the bumper and dumped her. But I was a sucker for love. Ass trick. Terrible. So I moved this bitch out to a better place. She had sold my furniture and shit. She sold my furniture and shit. I don't know what she... Anyway. So we moved to this other place, and then this the dude, some white dude, he was like, yeah, on the building, like, yeah, when I seen her, I knew that I had to rent to her. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? You talking about looking at seeing her credit? What are you talking about seeing this bitch? And so we're living there. But now I'm going back to Seattle a lot. Like all of 2000, I was going, most of 2000, 2001, I'm going back and forth to Seattle. You know, sometimes I'm up there for like 3 or 4 days, fly back, then I go up there for 2 more days, a week later. And so I got to the point like, I'm going to move up there. My mom up there was like, she was getting a knee surgery. She said, come up, you can come up here and help me. And I was going to go do it. But then September 11th happened. I'm like, oh, shit. And so I had to chill out. But then I left. I went up there. Got a job at the Needle and Shed. I was up there for not even a month. This bitch called me talking about, I'm pregnant. I said, by who? She said, I knew you was going to say that. I said, bitch, by who? She said, by you. I said, all right, I'll be back down there. So I told him, I said, I got to go back down here. My girlfriend's pregnant. You know, I'll be back. And he was like, okay, you got a job when you get back? I said, all right. So I went down there and I told her, I was like, I'm up there trying to do something. She says, nobody told you to come back down here. I said, I came back down because you told me you were pregnant. We don't need another baby. She said, we ain't destitute. Now remember, this is the same bitch that stole a credit card from her mama with one baby, saying it was to keep our head above water. So anyway, I had brought a package back with me. And the legend of King Dro is born. That's all I'm going to say about that. And so she gets some money from her job or some shit. And she was like, well, we can stay down here and spend this money. I said, bitch, I don't want to stay down here and spend that money. I'm moving to Seattle. And she says, well, I'm not going to go unless you marry me. I said, I guess you're not going there. Because I had got her some rings like early before the baby was born, the first baby, that baby was born. But then these rings came up missing. I asked her what happened to them one day. She was like, I took them over my mama's house. I was mad at you and threw them in my room. Her mama had since then moved. So I said, where's those rings? I'm going to get married, present those rings. And so she just looked at me and shit. And so I told my fake ass friend and shit. I was like, yeah, we going on moving to Seattle, and he was like, "Oh, she ain't going nowhere with you. She ain't going nowhere with you. My pregnant girlfriend ain't going nowhere with me. What information do you have?" You know. So anyway, we get up there and shit. My mom up there, she worked for Section 8 and shit, some type shit like that. She had given me paperwork to give to her. My homeboy, his mother worked for the school system. This bitch used to work at the schools. And he was like, my mama can get her a job and shit. I was like, all right. So I give her the shit. She never filled this shit out. This is going to come back. And so anyway, we get up there and shit. This bitch pregnant. I get the job back at the needle and shit. Grinding. She got a baby. It's all cool, I guess. Almost a year later, I was like, it's time for you to get a job. And she's holding the baby like, ooh, daddy gonna make us go back to work. I was like, why are you even doing that? What do you think was gonna happen? So this bitch gets some bullshit jobs, which is, whatever, just do something. But then she's going back and forth to Cincinnati a lot. Like, her family's coming up there looking at me like I kidnapped this bitch and like she can't escape or some shit. I don't know. That bitch could have stayed where she was at. But then the bitch-like behavior starts to come back. One day I was like, I'm pretty optimistic. No, you ain't. What? Okay, I thought I was. Excuse me. And I was like, man, I never imagined I'd be working at the needle like this. You probably never applied. Bitch, I was already working there before you told me you was pregnant. Dumb bitch. But then, like the topper, she went over to my mom's house up there and started talking shit about me. And see, my mama in Seattle's not like the motherfuckers in Cincinnati, family and so-called friends, where they just listen to the bullshit. My mom told me, she said, Arthur, she came over here, she was talking about you terribly. And I told her, I've known Arthur since he was 18 years old, and I don't know the man that you're talking about. And I asked her, like, so why are you going over there talking shit about me? Like, you don't even know these people. Like, you fucking hate me. I told her, I said, we need to go to counseling. She said, I ain't going nowhere with you. Bitch, you came like 3,000 miles. What the fuck are you talking about? You ain't going nowhere. You're already somewhere with me. But I just said, all right. But when we first got up there, I have to backtrack. When we first got up there, she got like this, like a tax return style check, a government check. And I was like, what the fuck is this? She was like, oh, this is money I get for the baby. He wasn't a baby now, he was the oldest. It's like $500 and shit. And she had been getting that shit like every month for like 5 years. I never knew anything about that. And I said, why did you tell me about this shit? She said, my mama told me you never tell nobody what you got. What? So think about all this money, because that's going to come back. This bitch was on dope or something. She was being pimped, or she was on dope. It's nothing else. And so, like I said, she's going back and forth to Cincinnati. She not keeping a job. And I told her one day, I was like, rent's due. And she was like, well, I ain't got no money. I just got back in town. I said, bitch, I got vacation time. I'm not going out of town. Why you think you get to go out of town? And so she said, all right. So she comes back with some money. And I was like, damn, she must have called her people, got this money. She gave it to me with an attitude like, like that. And then I get a phone call. The phone rings. I pick it up. They're talking to me like, yeah, you owe us this money because you don't live there. Like, who the fuck is this? There's like, it's child support. Like, what? I was like, all right. I hung up the phone. I said, bitch, I don't believe you. Like, I just don't believe you. So a couple of days later, a letter comes. And it says, me versus her. And I said, it's time for you to go. You can't even give me head your way up out of it this time. She said, I can't even try. I said, nah, bitch, time to go.